The village well is quiet tonight. The rope and bucket resting against cool stone, while the sky hangs wide and gentle above. A single lamp glows nearby, soft and steady, and a tired soul lingers in the shadows, listening to the hush between each small sound. The long day is finally letting go, like a heavy jar being set down on stone. So before you fully relax, take a moment to like and subscribe. Only if you truly enjoy this. Leave a comment with your location and time. I love seeing where everyone is listening from. Now dim the lights, maybe let a fan hum softly, and let's begin tonight's journey. It has been a heavy day, the kind that leaves your shoulders tight and your thoughts looping in circles that never quite close. In your mind, you are walking toward this well. Down a narrow village lane, the stones still holding the memory of the day's heat while the night air finally begins to cool. Clay houses rest close together, and from within them come the faintest sounds of dishes being stacked. A baby sighing, a door bar sliding quietly into place. You reach the open space where the well stands at the village center. The sky above is a deep, calm blue, brushed with scattered stars. The moon hangs low, its light tracing soft lines along rooftop edges and the curve of the stone wall. The bucket, damp from recent use, carries the faint smell of water and earth. You sit on the low wall, feel its rough, familiar surface beneath your hands, and let your weight sink down. The day still clings to you, the unfinished tasks, the small misunderstandings, the worries that tried to grow larger with every hour. In your chest, it all feels like a knot that refuses to loosen. Across from you, in the memory of Luke's gospel, Jesus once spoke to people who knew this feeling well. Some had fields to tend, hands cracked from work. Some had children to feed, aging parents to care for, taxes to pay to a distant power that did not know their names. Their worries were not written down with your exact words, but their hearts carried the same questions. Will there be enough? Am I safe? Does God see me in all of this? You imagine him standing near this same well, or one very much like it, the lamplight catching the quiet lines of his face. His voice is calm and steady, not rushed, not harsh, as he looks at the faces turned toward him. He points to the sky, where dark birds cross the fading light. In Luke 12:22-24, he tells his friends not to worry about their life, what they will eat, or about their body, what they will wear, because life is more than food, and the body more than clothing. He speaks of ravens, birds that do not plant or harvest or store away in barns, yet they are fed. The words drift over the crowd like a soft blanket. Tonight, you let them drift over you as well. You are not a raven, but you are worth more than many of them. And the care that watches over their simple, fluttering lives does not forget your name or your needs. The worries you have not spoken aloud, the ones you keep tucked away in the corners of your mind, are not hidden from God. They rise like quiet smoke in the cool night, seen and known even when you do not have language for them. Beyond the cluster of houses, fields stretch out into the dark. Jesus' gaze moves from the sky to those fields, to the places where lilies and wildflowers grow without effort or anxiety. They do not spin thread. They do not sit up late trying to manage every outcome. In Luke 12:27-28, he reminds his listeners that even Solomon, in all his splendor, was not dressed like one of these. And if God clothes the grass of the field so richly, how much more will he clothe them? You picture those flowers out beyond the village, pale in the moonlight, their colors softened but still present. Their roots are hidden, but they stand quietly, receiving what they need: soil, water, light. They do not rush. They do not plan 5 steps ahead. They simply rest in the care that holds them. Somewhere in that image, your own life finds a place to rest too. You have worked. You have tried. You have carried what was yours to carry. For this moment, you are allowed to stop and simply be in the presence of a God who is not anxious, not hurried, not forgetful. You lean forward and wrap your fingers around the rope. In your imagination, you feel its rough fibers pressing against your skin as you lower the bucket into the dark, unseen water. The rope slides slowly, steadily, making a soft, familiar rasp against the stone. There is a pause, a deeper silence as the bucket sinks, then a gentle tug as it fills. When you draw it up again, droplets spill over the rim, catching the lamplight before falling back with small, soothing sounds. The bucket rests on the wall. You pour some water into a simple clay cup, its surface worn smooth by many hands before yours. As you lift it, the coolness touches your fingers first, then your lips, then moves down your throat into the deep places that were thirsting without you even noticing. It is ordinary water, but in this moment it feels like a quiet promise. Even after days that feel heavy, small mercies still reach you. A breath that comes a little easier, a place to lie down, a word of scripture that settles rather than stirs. Jesus' words continue in Luke 12:29-32, telling his friends not to be consumed by the questions of what they will eat or drink, because their Father knows they need these things. He calls them a little flock and tells them not to be afraid, for it has pleased the Father to give them the kingdom. You picture yourself among that little flock, gathered near the well, close enough to hear every word, close enough to see the warmth in his eyes when he looks at people who are tired and unsure. The worries of the day do not vanish all at once. The tasks and questions that belong to tomorrow are still waiting somewhere out there in the dark. But here, by the well at night, they lose some of their sharp edges. They become shapes you can set down beside you, like heavy jars resting on stone after a long walk. They still exist, but they do not have to press on your chest as you try to sleep. They can wait outside the circle of lamplight while you breathe. You shift your back against the stone and feel its solid support. Above you, the stars hold their shining positions, unmoved by the small storms of any single day. The God who hung them there is the same God who watches over your coming and going, your waking and sleeping, your working and resting. You are not forgotten. You are not left to carry everything on your own. Tonight, you are allowed to be small and cared for. You do not have to solve everything before you close your eyes. You can notice your chest rising and falling, the gentle rhythm of breath that has continued through every moment of this long day. You can let each exhale linger a little longer, as if you are quietly laying one worry at a time beside the well, into hands that are strong enough to hold them. The village around you grows even more still, Lamps are lowered. Voices soften and fade. The well remains, a deep, steady heart at the center of the night, holding reflections of stars and the memory of every cup lifted by dry, hopeful hands. As you rest beside it in your imagination, your own heart begins to mirror that calm surface. The thoughts that chased you begin to slow, like ripples smoothing out on water. Let your inner gaze stay with the quiet water, with the ravens in the dark sky, with the lilies resting in the unseen fields, with the voice that once said, "Do not be afraid, little flock," and still speaks peace into nights like this. Your body grows heavier in the best way, anchored to the mattress beneath you, welcomed into a rest that does not depend on everything being fixed, only on being lovingly held. The lanes of the village are nearly empty now, the dust of the day settled into pale streaks along the ground. Doorways that were bright with talk and movement earlier have grown quiet, their curtains drawn, their lamps dimmed to a gentle glow. A few late voices drift through the air, then fade, leaving only the hush of stone, sky, and the soft sound of sandals on earth. A tired figure moves along these narrow paths, shoulders a little rounded from the weight of the day. Thoughts replay small scenes, a look that stung, a word that came out sharper than intended, work that felt like it barely made a dent. The mind tries to sort and explain, to fix what cannot be fixed tonight. The streets remember many days like this, many hearts like this. They simply hold the echo and let it fade into the dark. Above the rooftops, the stars rest in their places. A thin breath of wind slips through the alleys, tugging gently at hanging cloth, stirring the faint, clean scent of water stored in jars. A clay pot leans against a wall, forgotten for now. A light flickers behind a shutter and goes still. It is the kind of night when everything seems to have stepped back a little, making room for a quieter voice to be heard. Not far from these lanes, up on a gentle rise outside the town, the earth still remembers another gathering. Once, many feet pressed that hillside as people climbed to hear Jesus speak. They came from the villages and the coastal towns, from farms and fishing boats and crowded streets. Some came with hope, some came with desperation. Many came simply tired. Their days had been full of taxes, aching backs, family needs, and worries that never seemed to pause. You can picture that hillside now as if you were standing in this lane and looking toward it in your mind. The grass there may be lying flat in places where people once sat in close circles. The air is quiet now, but it has held the sound of his voice. Somewhere, imagine just beyond the houses, that place waits, green and open under the same stars that shine on the rooftops tonight. On that slope, as Luke tells in 6:20-23, Jesus lifted his eyes toward his disciples and began to speak words that turned expectations upside down. "Blessed are you who are poor, for yours is the kingdom of God." Poor not only in coins, but poor in strength at the end of the day. Poor in clear answers. Poor in visible success. Blessed are the ones who feel their limits, whose hands look empty when they come home at night. The weary walker in the lane slows a little, as if listening to those blessings echo down from the hillside and into the streets. It is a gentle shock to consider that blessedness does not wait until everything is tidy and impressive. It can settle on the one who feels stretched too thin, who reaches this hour with more sighs than victories, If your own heart feels small and worn tonight, you are not standing outside the circle of His care. You may be standing right in the place where His voice leans closest. Jesus continued, "Blessed are you who hunger now, for you will be satisfied." Hunger can be the empty ache in a stomach that has waited too long for bread. But it can also be the deep, wordless longing for peace, for meaning, for a life that feels less fragile. The figure in the lane knows that second hunger well, a desire for rest that actually reaches the inner places, not just the surface. You may know that hunger too, the sense that something in you is asking quietly, "Is there more kindness waiting for me than I can see right now?" These blessings are not quick fixes or easy slogans. They are more like a warm hand laid on a tense shoulder, a steady voice saying that your present emptiness is not the whole story. In the kind of kingdom Jesus brings, the ones who know they are lacking are not shamed. They are met. Your tiredness can be a doorway rather than a dead end. Your longing can be a place where comfort slowly grows roots. The lane turns a corner and follows the curve of a low stone wall. The walker trails fingers along its top, feeling the rough, cool surface, the tiny dips where one stone meets the next. Each small touch reminds the body that it is here, in this moment, not trapped forever inside the thoughts of the day. Step by step, the hurried pace of earlier hours eases into something slower, almost like a quiet walk with a friend. There is nowhere urgent to be now, nothing urgent to prove. Jesus also said, "Blessed are you who weep now, for you will laugh." Somewhere behind these closed doors, someone cried earlier. Maybe it was from grief, maybe from frustration, maybe from simply feeling overwhelmed by what the day demanded. Tears leave eyes heavy and voices softer. You may carry your own private sorrows tonight, old or new, that still blur the edges of your day and linger as you lie down. To hear that such lives can be called blessed is almost startling. Yet that is what He spoke, and the hillside held His words. Blessed not because pain is good, but because God draws near to those who no longer pretend to be unbreakable. The one who shaped the stars does not step back with folded arms, waiting for you to pull yourself together before offering comfort. Instead, He moves toward the trembling, the disappointed, the ones whose plans have come undone. Ahead, a narrow stairway climbs along the side of a house to a flat rooftop. The walker ascends slowly, hand brushing the wall for balance, feet sure in the familiar grooves of the steps. At the top, the village spreads out in layers, housetops like quiet waves under the deep, dark sky. A few lamps burn low. Most are already out. From up here, the lanes below look gentler, almost like lines drawn in the dust of a child's sketch. Sitting down on the rooftop, back resting against a low parapet, the weight of the day is finally allowed to settle. It does not need to be sorted or solved. It is simply acknowledged. You can imagine yourself there, feeling the night air on your face, letting your breathing slow to its own easy rhythm. In and out. In and out. The kind of breathing that does not rush, does not argue, does not chase anything. Jesus spoke, too, of those who are hated or excluded because of Him, promising a reward that reaches beyond what can be seen. Even if that is not your story, you may know the sting of feeling overlooked, dismissed, or not quite enough in someone's eyes. From the rooftop, with its wide view, it becomes easier to remember that your worth is not pinned to today's opinions. There is a perspective higher than the narrow judgments that crowded your thoughts earlier. In the quiet, the blessings from that hillside feel like a low, steady song under everything else. They do not hurry you into a certain feeling. They simply remind you that God's favor does not skip over people who are tired, anxious, or unsure. A heart like yours can be blessed right in the middle of questions. Your weariness can be wrapped gently in His attention. Maybe you cannot even name exactly what you need tonight. That is all right. A simple, wordless sigh can be enough. A soft, unspoken, "Lord, you see me," may be all your strength allows. You can rest in the trust that He knows the details of your day more clearly than you do, and that His care can reach into corners you have never noticed. The rooftop stones beneath you are firm and cool. As you lean back, your shoulders release a little more, the muscles no longer pulled so tight. Thoughts grow quieter, like a crowd slowly thinning until only a few gentle voices remain. The village sleeps, the hillside rests. The blessings spoken there still stand, written not only in Luke's gospel, but also across this wide, watching sky. Let your breathing match this slow, unhurried calm. With each exhale, you can imagine setting down one more small piece of the day. A worry, a sharp memory, a line on a list that will wait for tomorrow. They do not vanish, but they move out of the center of your attention, making space for peace to settle nearer your chest, nearer your heartbeat. If sleep begins to move toward you like a quiet friend, let it come without resistance. You are safe to drift, not because everything is resolved, but because you are held by one who calls weary people blessed. Under this patient sky, above these resting streets, you can finally loosen your grip and let your whole self sink into a deeper, kinder rest. In a small house in Nazareth, evening has settled over the rooftops. The busyness of the day has ebbed away, leaving the quiet sounds of bowls being stacked and a broom brushed gently over the floor. Inside, the air carries the familiar mixture of oil, bread, and the earthen coolness of clay walls. A simple lamp burns in the corner, its flame steady, its light folding softly over everything it touches. In this home, there is nothing that would draw the attention of the world. No marble columns, no grand doorway, no polished floors. The doorway is low, the windows are small, and the furniture is plain and well used. Yet in Luke 1:26-38, this quiet place becomes the setting for a visit that changes the story of the world. God sends a messenger not to a palace or a seat of power, but to a young woman living an ordinary life in an ordinary town. In the lamplight, you can picture Mary going about her evening tasks, perhaps straightening a mat or setting aside a piece of cloth she has been sewing. Her hands move with the practiced ease of someone who has done these things many times. The room is not silent, but it is calm, wrapped in a homely, unremarkable peace. Then, without fanfare, the messenger stands before her and greets her as favored. "Greetings, you who are highly favored," he says. "The Lord is with you." The words themselves are gentle, but they land in a heart that does not feel large or important. Luke tells us that Mary is greatly troubled and wonders what this greeting might mean. She is not immune to surprise, confusion, or the feeling of being out of place in the moment. She is simply a person who did not expect her name to be spoken in this way. The messenger speaks again, and this time the words are even more tender. "Do not be afraid, Mary. You have found favor with God." Fear is named before it fully takes root. The reassurance comes before all the details are laid out. In the same way, your own fear about tomorrow's needs, about your place in this world, about whether you matter, can be noticed and calmed by the presence of one who sees you more clearly than you see yourself. Mary is told that she will conceive and give birth to a son, and that she is to call him Jesus. He will be great, the messenger says, and will be called the Son of the Most High. These are large, overwhelming words for a small, quiet room. The future they describe is vast, stretching far beyond the edges of Nazareth, far beyond the horizon of Mary's understanding. Yet they are spoken to her gently, with respect for her questions and her humanity. She does ask a question, not in defiance, but in honest bewilderment. How will this be? The answer she receives is not a technical explanation, but a promise that the Holy Spirit will come upon her, that the power of the Most High will overshadow her, and that the child to be born will be called Holy, the Son of God. A smallness of understanding is met not with scolding, but with a reminder that nothing is impossible with God. You may carry your own version of that question tonight. How will this be? How will strength come when you feel drained? How will guidance arrive when you cannot see even a few steps ahead clearly? How will peace find its way into the tight corners of your mind? The answers are not always given in step-by-step detail. But like Mary, you are invited to rest in the character of the one who speaks, faithful, present, patient, and able to do more than you can imagine. In the lamplight of that Nazareth room, Mary's response becomes a quiet anchor for countless hearts that would come after hers. "I am the Lord's servant," she says. "May your word to me be fulfilled." It is not a loud declaration made before a crowd, but a simple, trusting yes offered in the privacy of a humble home. She still does not know how everything will unfold. She has not yet walked the long roads of motherhood or felt the sharp edges of sorrow that will come. But in this moment, she rests her future in the hands of God. As you listen, you can imagine yourself seated in the corner of that room, back against the cool wall, knees drawn up slightly, watching the scene unfold. The lamp's glow reaches your face too, and the words spoken to Mary echo in your own heart. You are not called to her exact path, but you are invited into the same trust that the God who chose a quiet Nazareth home as a place to speak is not indifferent to your quiet life, your hidden faithfulness, your small acts of love. The lamp continues to burn, its oil slowly spent as the night wears on. Outside, Nazareth is settling into deeper sleep. But in this house, a new peace has entered. Mary's yes has not erased her questions or her humanity, but it has placed her life in the flow of God's quiet, unstoppable work. That same presence can meet you in your room tonight, beside your own lamp or screen or window, inviting you to rest in being seen and loved. Let your breathing fall into a gentle rhythm, like the steady flicker of the flame on the wall. With each slow exhale, you might imagine releasing one layer of the day's feeling of being small or unseen. With each inhale, you receive again the simple truth that you are noticed, favored in ways that are not loud, but are very real. You do not have to earn this by being more impressive. You are already within the circle of God's kind awareness. If your eyes grow heavier as you sit in that quiet Nazareth room in your imagination, let them close. The scene can remain. Lamp glowing, messenger gone, Mary resting in a new promise as you drift towards sleep. You are not forgotten in the dark. The same Lord who chose that small house for such tender words chooses to remain near you now, watching over your resting body, your slowing thoughts, your quietly beloved heart. The road into the hill country winds between slopes and terraces, the kind of path that has felt many footsteps over many years. Evening gathers slowly over the ridges, softening their lines, turning the distant stones a gentle blue-gray. Along this path, Mary has come in haste, carrying within her the strange, holy promise spoken in her Nazareth home. Her steps are careful but eager, the long journey finally bringing her near to the village where Elizabeth lives. By the time she reaches the cluster of houses, lamps are already being lit. Small points of warm light appear in doorways and windows, one after another, like stars coming down to rest at the level of human lives. The air is cooler here among the hills, carrying the scent of earth, olive trees, and the faint tang of sheep that have been gathered in for the night. Mary's clothes carry the dust of the road. Her feet are tired, but her heart is full of a quiet urgency. Elizabeth's house sits along a slope, its doorway opening out toward a view that stretches across the valley. Tonight, its threshold is a place where two stories will meet. Mary draws close, her hand brushing the rough wall beside the door for balance. She calls out a greeting, the kind of simple word villagers use for one another every day. But this time it is wrapped around the mystery of what God is doing in both their lives. Inside, Elizabeth hears the sound of her cousin's voice, and something deep within her responds before her mind can fully catch up. As Luke 1:39-45 tells us, the child in her womb moves with sudden, lively joy at Mary's greeting, and Elizabeth herself is filled with the Holy Spirit. The ordinary room around her, the woven mats, the clay jars, the wooden bench, do not change. Yet the atmosphere shifts. It is as if a new brightness has entered the doorway with Mary's voice. Elizabeth speaks out with joy that feels bigger than the house can hold. "Blessed are you among women," she says, "and blessed is the child you will bear." Her words do not come from envy or comparison, but from recognition. She sees by God's kindness what is happening in Mary's life, and she honors it. She wonders aloud that the mother of her Lord has come to visit her, and she calls Mary blessed for believing that the Lord would fulfill his promises. There is something deeply restful about being so clearly seen by another person, especially when your life has just stepped into a path you did not expect. Mary has heard the messenger's words in Nazareth, but here, in the quiet of Elizabeth's home, she hears those promises reflected back to her through another voice. The trust she is offered is not left alone in the dark. It is confirmed and embraced by someone who understands. You may know what it is like to long for that kind of companionship, the kind where you do not have to explain everything from the beginning, where your burdens are not dismissed or weighed against someone else's. With Elizabeth, Mary finds a safe place for her new and fragile joy, a home where her story is received with reverence and delight. If you feel alone in what you carry tonight, This scene reminds you that God values shared comfort and sends people to walk alongside us, even if they come only for a season. In response, Mary's heart overflows into words that Luke records as a song, often called the Magnificat. "My soul magnifies the Lord," she says, "and my spirit rejoices in God, my Savior." In this house in the hills, her praise rises gently, not as a performance, but as a natural outpouring of gratitude. She speaks of God looking with favor on her lowliness, of His mercy extending to those who fear Him, of His strength. Used to lift up the humble and fill the hungry with good things. The room seems to grow warmer as she speaks, not from the lamp alone, but from the sense that the God she is praising is not distant. He is attentive to ordinary people in ordinary houses, to women whose names would not have been recorded by history if not for His tenderness. Mary and Elizabeth are not powerful in the world's eyes, yet their lives are woven into something vast and holy. That same God sees you tonight. Your limitations, your longings, your quiet faith that rarely makes a sound. The two women sit together, perhaps at a low table or on cushions spread over the floor, the glow of the lamp touching their faces as they talk late into the evening. There is laughter, the kind that bubbles up from shared understanding. There may be tears as well, not of despair, but of relief at being known. Hands rest on growing bellies, feeling the gentle shifts of the lives within them. The house is filled with a calm, deep joy that does not ignore the uncertainties ahead, but leans on the one who holds those unknown days. You can imagine yourself there, seated quietly along the wall, a welcome guest in this circle of trust. The sound of their voices is low and steady, like a stream moving over smooth stones. You do not need to say anything. You are simply allowed to be present, to absorb the sense that God delights in meeting people in small spaces like this. The hills outside stand guard in the darkness, their outlines softened by the night, while this little house glows like a heartbeat of hope in the valley. If you have ever wished for a friend who could truly understand your inner world, you might let this scene rest over that ache. Mary and Elizabeth's meeting does not erase all their future challenges, but it makes this stretch of the journey gentler. In the same way, God may provide you with a person or a moment, or even the quiet comfort of His presence that makes your road through the hills a little easier to walk. You are not meant to carry everything in isolation. As the night deepens, the house grows quieter. Outside, the sounds of animals have softened. The village has lowered its voice. Inside, Mary and Elizabeth prepare to sleep, each one lying down with a heart that is steadier than it was before. They do not know every detail of what is coming, but they know they are not alone in it. God has knit their stories together for this time, and that is enough to let their breathing slow and their bodies relax into rest. You too can let your body loosen as if you were lying on a mat in that hill country home, feeling the faint coolness of the packed earth beneath you. Notice the way your shoulders can sink a little deeper into your bed, the way your hands can soften, no longer clenching invisible burdens. Your thoughts do not have to race. They can move at the pace of a quiet conversation between friends who trust each other. In the dim, kind light of this imagined room, let your heart remember that you are both known and accompanied by a God who chooses humble houses and by the people He places in your path. Even if you cannot see all of them yet, His care surrounds you. Under that care, in this hour, you can gently release the day and allow sleep to come when it is ready. like a soft blanket drawn up over a soul that finally feels safe enough to rest. In Bethlehem, the town is fuller than usual, its narrow streets carrying the noise and shuffle of many travelers. People have come because they must, responding to the decree that calls them back to the places of their ancestral lines. Donkeys shift and bray, carts creak, voices rise and fall in dozens of conversations. Oil lamps hang near doorways, their flames pressed small by the steady breeze of moving bodies. It is not a peaceful night on the surface. It is crowded, restless, and tired. Near the edge of the town, one guest space has already reached its limit. The small upper room, usually enough for a few visitors, is full of blankets and traveling bundles, each corner already claimed. Down below, or alongside, a more humble area remains. The space where animals are kept in from the night air, where feed is stored and troughs are set. It is not meant for honored guests, but it is the only place left open when Joseph and Mary arrive. They have traveled far. You can imagine the dust on their clothes, the weight of the journey resting on Mary's back and legs, the way each step has pressed deeper into her body as the days have passed. By the time they reach this simple shelter, she is more than just physically tired. She stands at the edge of a holy, vulnerable moment. There is no grand bed prepared for her, no midwives gathered, no scented oil burning in delight. There is just this space, rough beams overhead, the warm scent of animals, a manger lined with clean straw. Luke 2:1-7 tells it with simplicity. While they were there, the time came for the baby to be born, and she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger because there was no guest room available for them. No extra words, no ornate descriptions, just a gentle statement of reality. The Savior of the world arrives not into polished comfort, but into a place that most would overlook. You might feel at times that your own life is more like that lower room than the tidy guest space above. Perhaps it feels unprepared, cluttered with worries, crowded with responsibilities, or simply too ordinary to be a place where God would draw near. Yet this is exactly where He chooses to come. Not after Mary and Joseph have found a better option, not after everything is in order, but right here, in this space that smells of hay and breath and earth. In the dim light, the birth finally happens. The pain and effort of labor are real. But Luke does not linger on them. Instead, the focus rests on what comes after. A tiny child, wrapped carefully in strips of cloth, held in Mary's arms, his small face relaxed at last. Joseph stands close, watching, his own tiredness mingled with awe. The room that felt so poor a few hours ago is now richer than any palace, simply because this child is here. Outside, the town still hums with the movement of strangers, unaware of what has just occurred on its edge. In fields nearby, shepherds keep watch over their flocks, not yet visited by the angels who will soon tell them the news. For this moment, the scene is small: a young couple, a newborn, a makeshift cradle. Yet somehow, all of heaven's attention rests here. God with us, not in idea only, but in a fragile body that needs to be fed, warmed, and held. You can imagine stepping quietly into that room, careful not to startle the animals or the sleeping child. The lamp's light is low, casting soft shadows along the rough walls. Mary looks up and gives a tired, gentle smile. Joseph's eyes are full of protective tenderness. They make a bit of space near the manger for you to sit, to simply be in the presence of this holy closeness. There are no grand speeches, no heavy demands. There is only the quiet sound of the baby's breathing and the slow settling of everyone's heartbeat. In that stillness, something shifts inside. The questions that have chased you through the day do not suddenly vanish, but they soften, as if laid beside the small hands of this child who has come into the same kind of world you live in, crowded, imperfect, and often confused. God has not chosen to stay distant, watching from a clean, untouched distance. He has stepped into straw and dust and the press of obligation so that you might know he understands. Mary adjusts the cloth around the baby's face with careful fingers. Joseph adds a bit more straw to the manger, checking that it is dry and soft. Ordinary gestures, done in love, become part of the story of salvation. In your own life, too, there are small acts that do not make headlines. Kindness offered, burdens shared, prayers whispered in the dark, that are far more precious than they appear. The God who came to Bethlehem's lower room does not despise these small things. He delights in them. Let your own heart settle into that peace for a moment. Let your breathing match the calm rise and fall of the child's small chest. The world outside your room may still be restless, full of noise and need. But within this space, you are allowed to simply exist before God with us. Without performance, without pretense. You are like that little shelter, a place where He is willing to be present. As you imagine lying down on a mat in that room, the rough texture beneath your hands and the warmth of the animals nearby, your body can begin to release some of the tightness it has held all day. Your shoulders can sink a little heavier into your pillow. Your jaw can soften. Your thoughts can move more slowly, circling not around your failures or fears, but around the steady truth that you are not alone. In the glow of the lamp and the quiet of this Bethlehem night, you may feel yourself beginning to drift. That is all right. The story will still be here as you fall asleep, and the one who entered the world in such a gentle, hidden way will continue to watch over you. Let the image of that small, sleeping child be like a soft blanket over your mind, covering the rough places, warming the cold ones, inviting every part of you to rest. Nazareth grows quiet under the soft blue of evening, the day's brightness fading into gentler light. Hills darken at the edges, and the sounds of work retreat behind doors and courtyard walls. Dust settles in the streets, and sandals that stirred it all day now rest near thresholds. Near the center of town stands the synagogue, sturdy and familiar. Its walls have heard many prayers and many readings. Tonight, its doorway is a frame of shadow and light as people pass through, shoulders brushing, robes swaying softly. They come from fields and workshops, ovens and market stalls. Some carry worry in their faces, others wear the slow calm of habit. All bring dust, sweat, and unspoken hope. Inside, the air holds oil, earth, and time-smoothed wood. Benches and mats line the floor, and at the front stands the place where the scrolls are kept. A lamp burns there, its flicker reflecting in the eyes of those who look up. People greet one another with nods and low voices, then find their places. You can imagine yourself among them, slipping quietly to a spot along the wall. the cool surface steady at your back, your body grateful for a chance to sit and breathe. In Luke 4:16-17, we are told that Jesus comes to the synagogue as he has done many times. He stands with the ease of one who belongs here, not a stranger, but a neighbor grown into adulthood before their eyes. Those who remember him as a boy now watch him as a man. The attendant hands him the scroll of the prophet Isaiah, the parchment weighty with years of being unrolled and rolled again. He takes the scroll with careful hands and steps forward. The rustle of clothing and the soft clearing of throats hush into deeper silence. You can hear the smallest sounds now. A child shifting in a parent's lap, the faint creak of wood, the whisper of the lamp flame. Jesus unrolls the scroll slowly, his fingers moving over the columns of script until he finds the place he seeks. Then he begins to read. The words are old, but his voice carries them as if they are fresh water poured into thirsty cups. "The Spirit of the Lord is on me," he reads, "because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor." The poor in coins, yes, but also the poor in strength and certainty, the ones who reach the end of the day feeling emptied out. Good news for hearts that feel thin and tired. He continues, "He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and recovery of sight for the blind, to set the oppressed free." Some in the room know the weight of chains, but many know a quieter prison. Expectations they can never quite meet. Fears that do not let them rest. Memories that press on their minds when the night grows still. For all of them, the words settle gently, promising release not only from visible bonds, but from burdens no one else can see. "To proclaim the year of the Lord's favor," he reads, and the phrase lingers in the air like a soft fragrance. A season of kindness, of debts eased, of rest for land and people. You may feel as you listen in this imagined room, your own heart leaning toward that favor. It is steady and quiet, like the lamp on its stand, like the solid floor beneath your feet. It says that God's posture toward the weary is not suspicion or scolding, but welcome. When he finishes, Jesus rolls up the scroll and returns it to the attendant. Then he sits, and the eyes of everyone in the synagogue are fastened on him. Luke tells us he begins to say, "Today this scripture is fulfilled in your hearing." The promise is no longer just distant ink on parchment. It is present in the room, embodied in the one who has just read. For a moment, everything feels very still. Perhaps a breeze moves through the doorway. Perhaps a baby sighs in sleep. But under those small sounds, there is a deep quiet, as if hearts are trying to catch up to what ears have heard. Good news here. Favor here. The long-ago words of Isaiah, now alive in a familiar voice. You might carry your own sense of being bound tonight, by worries that circle the same path, by habits that seem too strong to break, by a tension you cannot quite name. Sitting in this Nazareth synagogue in your imagination, you can let Jesus' reading wash over those hidden places. You may not see all the ways freedom will unfold, but you are invited to believe that he has come for people exactly like you, with exactly the kind of heaviness you carry. Around you, people slowly relax into listening, their bodies settling more deeply into place. Some rest their hands on their knees, palms open. Some bow their heads slightly, eyes half closed. The lamp continues its patient burning, tracing soft lines of light along the scroll case and the walls. The synagogue that has seen so many ordinary evenings now holds a gentler kind of wonder. You can feel your own breathing match the slow rise and fall of this moment. Inhale as if you are taking in the words. Exhale as if you are releasing, little by little, the belief that you must rescue yourself by effort alone. The one who reads good news to the poor does not stand far off from your bed tonight. His compassion can reach into your thoughts and muscles, into the way you rest. Outside, night thickens over Nazareth, folding the town in layers of dark blue and silver. Inside the synagogue, the people will eventually rise and step out into the cool air. They will walk home along familiar paths. But something within them may feel different, as if a door has been opened to a wider sky. You too can carry this quiet assurance as you move towards sleep. As you lie down, imagine the feel of the synagogue's smooth floor under your palms, the gentle flicker of lamplight behind your closed eyes. You are not left alone with your invisible burdens. The scripture about release and favor has been spoken over people like you in places like this, and it still holds. Under that promise, you can let your body grow heavier, your mind grow softer, and your heart ease into a rest that does not depend on having everything under control. The shoreline of the lake is pale in the early light, the sun only beginning to brush the water with color. Night has not fully left, and day has not fully arrived. The world rests in a gentle in-between. Small waves tap against the stones with a soft, repeating hush, like a quiet breath drawn in and out. Along the edge, boats are drawn up on the shore, their hulls resting after a long, weary night. Fishermen move slowly beside them, shadows stretching long behind their tired bodies. Their hands are busy with nets, fingers finding knots and tangles almost by memory. The work continues even when the catch has been disappointing, because nets must be cleaned and mended for another attempt. On this morning in Luke 5:1-11, the night's effort has given them little in return. Hours of rowing, casting, pulling, and watching the dark surface have left them with almost empty baskets. You can imagine their thoughts, drifting as quietly as the mist over the lake. Questions about what they will sell and what they will bring home rise and fall without answers. Muscles ache from repeated motions, eyes sting from lack of sleep, and there is a particular tiredness that comes from giving everything you have and seeing almost nothing change. Perhaps you know that feeling, the sense of having rowed all night in some area of your life and finding your hands almost empty at dawn. On this shoreline, as people begin to gather, Jesus is already nearby. The crowd presses close to hear him speak, hungry for words that ease the mind and steady the heart. He sees the boats and the fishermen washing their nets, and he steps into the boat that belongs to Simon. With a quiet request, he asks to be pushed out a little from the shore. Simon agrees, even in his exhaustion, and the boat slips into the calm water. From there, Jesus sits and teaches the people. His voice carries over the surface of the lake, reaching the shoreline where men, women, and children stand listening. The water helps the sound travel, turning his calm words into something that touches every ear. On the boat, Simon and his companions hear the same words, but they also feel the gentle sway of the water beneath their feet, the familiar cradle of their work now serving as a place of rest. When he has finished speaking, Jesus turns to Simon with an instruction that cuts gently across the grain of their disappointment. Put out into deep water and let down the nets for a catch. Simon's reply is honest, almost weary. They have worked hard all night and haven't caught anything. The facts of their experience weigh heavily in his voice, yet he adds a small, important phrase. But because you say so, I will let down the nets. That quiet choice, to try again despite exhaustion simply because it is Jesus who asks, becomes the doorway to a surprise they could not have planned. They row out, letting the boat move into deeper water. The nets, freshly washed, are once again lowered into the lake, disappearing beneath the surface. For a moment, everything is still. The men, the boat, the air around them. Then, slowly at first, the ropes begin to strain. The nets grow heavy, far heavier than they should so soon after being cast. Hands that have known emptiness all night suddenly feel the pull of abundance. The fishermen tug and lift, calling to one another as the nets fill with fish beyond anything they expected. They signal to their partners in the other boat to come and help. And soon both boats are so full that they begin to sink low in the water. The scene is almost noisy now. Water splashing, men calling softly, the low groan of wood under the weight. Yet beneath that activity lies something quieter. The realization that this is not the result of their skill finally improving, or their effort finally earning a reward. It is a gift, overflowing and undeserved, arriving after a night that proved they could not make this happen on their own. Simon falls at Jesus' knees, overwhelmed by the gap he feels between his own smallness and the holy presence in his boat. He is aware of his flaws, his failures, his impatience. "Go away from me, Lord. I am a sinful man," he says, because the abundance has exposed how unworthy he feels. But Jesus does not step away. Instead, he speaks words that reach into Simon's fear. "Don't be afraid. From now on, you will fish for people." The boats, once symbols of long, unproductive effort, become part of a new calling. When they reach the shore, they leave everything: boats, nets, this astonishing catch, and follow him. The provision of fish is real and tangible, but it is also a sign pointing to something more: a life where their work, their fatigue, and their hopes are gathered up into God's larger purpose. If you have ever poured yourself into something and seen little change, you may feel a kinship with these fishermen. Long nights, quiet disappointments, plans that do not unfold as you hoped. These can leave you standing on a shoreline of your own, wondering what any of it was for. Yet here, in that very place of discouragement, Jesus steps into their familiar boat and lets it become a resting place for his presence. You are not being promised that every effort will end in overflowing nets, but you are invited to trust that your empty-handed places are not invisible to him. He knows when you have rowed all night. He knows the shape of your disappointment, and he knows how to meet you there with the provision you most need. Whether it looks like a surprising success, a new direction, or simply the deep assurance that you are not alone in the boat. As you prepare to sleep, imagine yourself on that shore, watching the boats ride low in the water after the catch. The sky is brightening now, the colors of dawn brushing the hills and the lake. You feel the cool air against your face and hear the low murmur of amazed voices as they quiet, one by one, into a softer hush. Your gaze shifts to Jesus himself, calm and steady amid the motion, his eyes kind as he looks at these men who will follow him into an unknown future. He offers them companionship, purpose, and a place in the story God is writing. In the same way, he offers you his presence in your ordinary labor and your quiet evenings. in your moments of wondering whether you have anything left to give. Let this lakeshore stay with you as you lie down. Picture the boats pulled back onto the sand, nets drying in the growing light, while the water keeps its gentle rhythm against the stones. Let your own body sink into that same steady calm. As you breathe out, imagine setting your nets, your efforts and worries aside. As you breathe in, receive again the quiet truth that you are not alone. The hillside is quiet now, the crowds thinner than they were in the brightest part of the day. Grass bends in soft, uneven waves where people once sat shoulder to shoulder, their footprints still fresh in the earth. A few children linger, chasing each other near the edges, but even their laughter has softened into something less sharp. The air is cooler, touched by the hint of evening that will soon settle in. Earlier, this slope was filled with voices, questions, and the rustle of movement as people stretched and shifted in their places. They had come from villages along the lake, from farms further inland, from dusty roads that wound between olive trees. Some were curious, some desperate, some just following the pull of a crowd. All of them ended up sitting on the same earth, listening to Jesus speak. You can imagine yourself among them, finding a patch of ground where the grass is not too trampled, feeling its slight spring under your weight as you sit. The sky above is open and wide, and the sound of his voice carries clearly, not shouting, but steady and sure. He has spoken of love that stretches beyond normal limits, of mercy that mirrors the kindness of the Father, of giving without keeping careful score. His words have pressed gently on places in the heart that are used to guarding themselves. He has also spoken about how easy it is to notice the speck in a neighbor's eye while ignoring the beam in your own. About how the words that spill out of a mouth reveal what is stored in the hidden rooms of the heart. Listening, you may feel both seen and exposed, recognized in your weakness, but not rejected for it. There is no harshness in his gaze, only an invitation to let him reshape the inner foundations of your life. As the teaching draws toward its close, Jesus offers an image that will linger in memory long after people return to their homes. He describes two builders, each setting out to construct a house. One digs down deep, clearing away loose soil until he reaches bedrock. It is slow, tiring work, not as impressive to watch at first. The other chooses an easier path, building on the surface where the ground is softer and the progress seems quick. For a while, both houses stand, on clear days when the wind is mild and the sky is gentle. There seems to be little difference between them. They both cast shadows on the ground. Both offer shade and shelter. Both look solid enough to pass a casual glance. But Jesus does not end the story on a calm day. He speaks of storms, the kind that come with rising water, driving rain, and winds that do not politely stay at the edges. When the flood comes, the stream beats against both houses. The one built on rock stands firm. It may creak and groan. Water may swirl around its base, but its foundation holds. The other, resting only on loose soil, cannot bear the pounding. Its walls shift, its base gives way, and it collapses with a ruin that is not easily hidden. The difference between them was not how beautiful they appeared, but what lay beneath all that could be seen. In Luke chapter 6, 46 to 49, Jesus says that the one who hears his words and puts them into practice is like the wise builder who dug down deep and laid the foundation on rock. The one who hears but does not act is like the builder who skipped that hard, unseen work. His teaching is not a threat flung toward frightened listeners. It is a gentle, firm truth offered to people he loves. He wants lives that can withstand storms, not just days of easy weather. You may carry your own storms tonight, some already raging, others only building on the horizon of your thoughts. There are anxieties about tomorrow, memories that still ache, responsibilities that feel too heavy. It can be tempting to reach for quick comforts, to build emotional shelters on whatever soft ground is nearest. But here, on this hillside in your imagination, you are invited to rest in something deeper, the steady character of the one who speaks. Building on the rock does not mean being perfect or never feeling afraid. It means returning again and again to trust that Jesus' way is secure even when you do not see every outcome. It looks like practicing small acts of mercy when you would rather withdraw, choosing honesty where hiding would be easier, offering quiet forgiveness instead of replaying an old hurt. These choices often go unnoticed by the world, but they are the deep digging that anchors your heart. As the crowd slowly begins to thin, some people rise and brush the dust from their robes, talking softly with those beside them. Others stay seated for a moment longer, gazing out over the slope and the lake beyond. The water catches the fading light, turning it into long, shimmering paths that seem to lead out toward the horizon. The breeze moves through the grass, carrying with it the echo of his final words. You remain seated, letting your body grow heavier against the hillside. The earth beneath you is solid, unmoving, even as the air shifts around you. There is comfort in this simplicity. Sky above, ground below. The memory of a voice that speaks both challenge and compassion. You do not have to rebuild your whole life in one night. You are simply invited, step by steady step, to align your inner foundations with the one who will not fail you. As you prepare to lie down, imagine that your bed is like this hillside, firm, steady, holding your weight with ease. Your pillow catches the shape of your head. Your blanket draws a soft boundary between you and the cooler air. Each slow breath is another chance to let your trust sink deeper, like a foundation stone settling into place. Whatever storms may come, tonight can be a calm place between them. A quiet time when you remember that you are resting on more than your own strength. The house of your life is not finished in a rush. It is built in these small, hidden moments of listening and yielding, of breathing out fear and breathing in the assurance of his presence. Under that steady care, you can let your eyes grow heavy and your thoughts drift, sheltered by a foundation that does not move when everything else feels uncertain. The dining room is lit with several oil lamps, their flames steady in the early evening air. Shadows gather in the corners, softened by the warm glow along the walls. A low table rests in the center of the room, surrounded by cushions where guests recline, leaning on one elbow, feet stretched out behind them. Dishes of bread, olives, and roasted food are arranged carefully, their scents mingling into a quiet, inviting richness. This is the home of a Pharisee, a respected man in the community, and tonight he has invited Jesus to dine with him. Servants move with practiced steps, refilling cups and adjusting dishes. On the surface, everything looks proper and controlled. The kind of evening built on expectations and unspoken rules. Jesus reclines at the table with the others, his body angled toward the food, his feet stretched out behind him, away from the center of conversation. Around him, Voices rise and fall, discussing scripture and the details of the day. You can picture yourself seated quietly against the wall, watching the scene unfold, sensing the polite distance between curiosity and suspicion. Then, something unplanned happens. A woman slips into the room, carrying no invitation, her presence immediately stirring the air. Luke 7:36-50 tells us that she is known in the town as a sinner. The label hangs around her like a heavy garment, one that others see long before they notice her face. The room seems to hold its breath as she steps closer to where Jesus is reclining, her eyes already bright with tears. She positions herself behind him, near his feet, the place where those who serve usually move quietly. Yet tonight, she has not come to serve in the usual way. Her tears begin to fall freely, landing on his unwashed feet, darkening the dust that clings to them from the road. It is as if her grief and love have mingled into water, flowing over the feet that have carried him along rough paths. Realizing what she has done, she lets down her hair, an act bold and vulnerable in this setting, and uses it to wipe the dampness from his skin. Her hair moves gently over his feet, drying them with a tenderness that needs no words. She kisses them again and again, not as a performance, but as a release of all the gratitude and need she has been carrying. From a small alabaster jar, she pours out perfume, and the scent blooms in the room, rising above every other smell. This is no longer just a meal. It is a moment of aching honesty. She does not speak in the story Luke records, yet her actions say everything. I am broken. I am needy. I have nowhere else to go with my sorrow and my longing for forgiveness. So I come here to you. In her posture at his feet, she finds a place where her shame does not push her away, but draws her closer to mercy. The host watches all this with a very different feeling. In his thoughts, he questions Jesus' insight. If this man were truly a prophet, he reasons, he would know what kind of woman is touching him and would never allow it. In the Pharisee's mind, holiness and this woman's history cannot share the same space. Jesus, knowing his thoughts, tells a short story. He speaks of two people who owed money to a lender, one a great sum, the other a smaller amount. Neither could repay the debt, and the lender graciously forgave both. Then he asks which one will love the lender more. The answer is simple. The one who had the larger debt canceled. Gently, Jesus turns the moment into a mirror. He points out that when he entered this house, there was no water offered for his feet, no kiss of greeting, no oil for his head. These small gestures of honor, common in hospitality, were absent. But this woman, from the moment she arrived, has done all of this and more, driven not by obligation, but by love. Her many sins, he says, have been forgiven, as shown by her great love. Then he speaks directly to her. His voice, calm and clear, breaks through whatever labels have surrounded her life. Your sins are forgiven, he says, not pieces of them. Not only the ones others know about, but all of them, gathered up and released. He tells her that her faith has saved her, and then he gives her a blessing she may never have heard spoken over her before. Go in peace. Imagine what those words feel like as they fall into her heart. The weight she has carried begins to lift, not because she has earned anything, but because she has trusted the only one who can speak forgiveness with authority and gentleness together. The perfume still lingers in the air. but now it seems to smell like something more than costly oil. It smells like a room where grace has taken up space. You may carry your own quiet regrets tonight. Things you wish you had not said or done. Paths you wish you had not taken. Moments you wish you could rewrite. Some may be known by others. Some may be known only to you and to God. They can sit heavy in the mind at night, replaying themselves just as you are trying to rest. In this story, you are reminded that Jesus is not startled by the weight of anyone's past, including yours. He is not fragile around your failures. Let that peace drip into your thoughts tonight like the oil from her jar, one drop at a time, until its fragrance fills the rooms of your mind. You do not have to rehearse your guilt to earn what has already been offered in love. You can instead rest at the feet of the one who knows everything about you and still calls you toward calm and wholeness. As you lie down, imagine the lamplight in that dining room dimming, the guests gradually leaving, the house growing still. Somewhere out in the streets, that woman walks home with a heart that feels different. Perhaps not yet fully healed in every way, but freed at the core. You are invited to rest in that same kindness, under the quiet assurance of being forgiven and welcomed. Your body can loosen, your breathing can slow, and your heart can settle into a deeper, gentler sleep. The lake lies under a soft, misty sky, its surface gently reflecting the fading light. Day is sliding into evening, and the far shore has grown hazy, where water and sky almost blend. Small ripples move across the surface, enough to rock the boats resting near the bank. Jesus and his disciples are preparing to cross to the other side. They step into the boat with the slow, practiced movements of men who have done this many times. Wooden planks creak quietly under their feet. Ropes are loosened. Someone gives a careful push, and the boat drifts away from the shore, gliding out over the water like a leaf beginning a calm journey downstream. You can imagine climbing into that boat as well, finding a low place along the side where you can sit close to the floor, one hand resting on the cool wood. The air smells of damp rope and clean water. Behind you, the shoreline recedes, its lamps becoming tiny sparks against the darkening hills. Ahead, the lake stretches wide and quiet, a path of gray-blue leading into the dusk. As Luke 8:22-25 tells us, Jesus is with them in the boat. After they push off, he finds a place near the stern and lies down. The steady rhythm of the water and the weariness of many days wrap around him like a blanket. Before long, he falls asleep, his breathing slow and even, his body relaxed despite the movement beneath him. For a while, the crossing is gentle. The oars dip and rise, making muffled sounds as they cut through the water. The disciples speak quietly or not at all, their voices blending with the small splashes and the occasional call of a bird finding its nest. The sky deepens, and night leans in a little closer. Then the wind begins to change. At first, it is only a stronger breeze, lifting the surface of the lake into higher ripples, brushing coolness across faces and hands. The boat shifts more noticeably, tilting and rising with each new swell. Clouds gather over the hills, and the light grows thinner, as if someone is slowly dimming a lamp. Tonight, for the sake of your rest, you can picture this not as a violent, terrifying storm, but as weather that unsettles more than it destroys. The water grows choppier, the wind more insistent, and the disciples begin to feel that tension between their training and their fear. They know this lake. They have weathered many nights here. Yet beneath their experience, a quiet question stirs. Will this be more than we can handle? As the wind continues, water splashes into the boat, thin streams running along the planks, pooling in shallow dips. Hands reach for buckets or cloths, trying to scoop and wipe, to stay ahead of what is seeping in. Voices grow sharper, movements more urgent. The sense of safety that wrapped the journey at its start begins to fray around the edges. All this time, Jesus remains asleep. It is not carelessness. It is a deep rest rooted in trust. The one who calms storms is not afraid of them, even when they rise around his own boat. Yet for the disciples, his sleeping feels like distance. In their anxiety, it may look like indifference. Their fear grows until it presses them toward him. They move to where he lies and wake him, their words carrying the edge of panic. "Master, Master, we're going to drown." Even if you remember the phrasing differently, the heart of it is the same. Do you see what is happening? Do you care that we are in danger? These are questions your own heart may have whispered on nights when worry felt like rising water. Jesus wakes and rises to his feet, the boat still shifting beneath him. He looks to the wind and the water, speaking to them with an authority that does not need to shout. He rebukes the wind and addresses the waves, telling them, in effect, to be still. The elements respond like a child, quieting under a gentle but firm hand. The wind eases. The water smooths itself out, waves shrinking into low ripples once again. Soon, the lake lies as calm as glass around them. In the quiet that follows, the disciples' breathing is still quick, their hearts still pounding. But the danger they feared has passed. Jesus looks at them and asks, "Where is your faith?" His question is not harsh. It is more like a soft light turned toward the inner room of their hearts. He is inviting them to notice not only the storm outside, but the foundation inside. The place where trust either holds or gives way. They are amazed and a little afraid, asking one another who he is, that even the wind and the water obey him. The crossing is not yet finished. The far shore still waits in the dim light. But something has changed, not just in the lake, but in their understanding. They have glimpsed a power that is both strong and deeply kind, a presence that does not abandon them even when he seems to sleep. As you imagine this scene, you can let your own anxious thoughts drift into that boat. Whatever feels like choppy water inside you, the unfinished tasks, the unresolved conversations, the worries that keep circling, can be pictured as small waves lapping against the sides. You do not need to deny they exist. Instead, you can bring them to the one who stands in the midst of them, unshaken. Picture yourself seated on the floor of the boat now, leaning back against the side, feeling the wood steady against your shoulders. The air has grown still and cool. The stars are clearer overhead, their reflections trembling softly on the surface of the water. A deep, steady quiet has settled over the lake. You can feel it moving into you as well, like calm reaching the corners of a once stormy room. Your breathing can match the gentle rocking of the boat. Slow inhale as it rises slightly, slow exhale as it settles back. The fear that once sat high in your chest can sink lower, dispersing like mist under morning light. You are not promised a life without storms, but you are promised a presence in every crossing, a steady hand ready to speak peace when your strength is spent. Let that assurance be the last word tonight, louder than any leftover worry. As the boat continues toward the far shore in your imagination, you are free to drift towards sleep in your own bed, held by the same Lord who calmed that lake. The waters around you and within you can rest. The grass is soft beneath countless feet, pressed down in uneven circles where people have settled to rest. The afternoon light has gentled as it leans across the hillside near Bethsaida. Beyond the gathered crowd, the lake glimmers quietly, its surface broken only by a few distant boats drifting across silver water. Jesus and his disciples have come to this remote place for a bit of rest. But the people have followed. They bring hunger with them, hunger for words that soothe their hearts and steady their minds, and hunger that is simpler and more physical, the ache of stomachs that have gone too long without bread. Men, women, and children cluster in groups, leaning on one another, sharing cloaks, their faces turned toward the one who has welcomed them instead of sending them away. You can picture yourself sitting among them on the grass, maybe near the edge of one small circle. The earth is warm where the sun has rested all day, and as you lean back on your hands, you feel its solid kindness. Around you, voices murmur quietly. Some speak of the stories they have heard about Jesus. Others simply sit in silence, letting his presence be enough. Jesus has been teaching, his words weaving hope into weary minds. But as the day stretches on, the practical concern of food rises to the surface. The disciples notice it first, their eyes moving over the crowd with a mixture of care and worry. They know that people are far from home, in a place with no market stalls and no easy path back before nightfall. They come to Jesus with a reasonable suggestion. Send the crowd away to find lodging and food in the surrounding villages. He answers with something unexpected. You give them something to eat. The disciples glance at each other, their brows furrowing. They know their resources are small. Luke 9:10-17 tells us that when they look at what they have, it is only 5 loaves and 2 fish. Barely enough for a small household, certainly not enough for thousands of people spread across a hillside. The numbers do not add up. The gap between need and provision feels impossibly wide. You may know that feeling in your own life, the sense that what you have in your hands is far less than what is needed. Time that feels too thin for all the demands. Energy that runs out before the day does. Resources that do not seem to stretch to cover every obligation. Standing between the crowd and their hunger, the disciples feel that same tension. We do not have enough. Jesus does not scold them for this honesty. Instead, he gives a simple instruction. Have the people sit down in groups. No frantic running, no desperate scrambling, just a quiet, orderly settling. The crowd shifts and rearranges, forming circles on the grass, 50 here, 100 there. Each group a little community sharing the same hope. In the midst of everything they lack, they are invited first to sit and rest. Then Jesus takes the loaves and fish into his hands. He looks up toward heaven, blessing what little they have, instead of cursing its smallness. His fingers break the bread, piece after piece, handing it to the disciples to distribute. Somehow, in the mystery of his compassion and power, the fragments do not run out. The disciples move from group to group, placing bread and fish into waiting hands. and there is always more to offer. You can imagine the surprise of those first bites. Someone who expected to grow faint on the walk home now tastes fresh bread on their tongue. A child who thought the day would end in gnawing hunger now chews slowly, eyes wide with relief. The food is simple, not a feast laid out in royal dishes, but enough, more than enough. Luke tells us that everyone ate and was satisfied, and that 12 baskets of broken pieces were left over. What began as not enough ends as plenty, with room to spare. If you are ending your day feeling like your own loaves and fish were too few, this story is a gentle reminder that God sees both your effort and your limits. You are not asked to conjure abundance out of thin air. You are invited to bring what you have, your small strength, your few clear words, your quiet kindness, and place it in hands that know how to multiply comfort in ways you cannot measure. As the sun drops lower, the hillside grows even more peaceful. Bellies that were tight with hunger begin to relax. Children lean against parents, crumbs still on their fingers. The murmuring of the crowd shifts from anxious talk to contented conversation. The grass, pressed flat in circles, now holds the weight of people who are fed and calmer than before. You are still there in your imagination, a simple piece of bread in your hand, the taste of it grounding you in the present moment. The day you have lived may have been heavy, but here, in this quiet place, you are reminded that being cared for is not a distant wish. God's attention includes your stomach, your fatigue, your need for something solid and good. Soon, people will stand and stretch, brushing crumbs from their laps, adjusting cloaks, lifting sleeping children into their arms. The path back to their homes will still be long for some, but they will walk it with bodies that feel steadier, less fragile. The memory of this shared meal will follow them, a quiet assurance that there is a shepherd who does not send his flock away hungry. As you prepare to lie down, let this hillside rest in your mind. Picture the leftover baskets gathered at Jesus' feet, a visible sign that his provision did not merely scrape by at the edge of just enough, but overflowed. Let that image gently press against any fear that there will never be enough grace, enough patience, enough strength for you. In him there is always more than your calculations can see. Feel your own body against the bed, the way you felt the grass beneath you in the story. Supportive, warm, where you have rested on it all day. Let your breathing slow, like the crowd settling into groups, anxieties rearranging themselves into something quieter. You do not have to fix every lack before you close your eyes. You are allowed to rest as one of those many people on the hillside, cared for by a love that sees both your hunger and your limits and chooses to stay. The road slopes gently downward between hills, its surface worn smooth by years of footsteps and wheels. Evening is arriving slowly, drawing long shadows across the stones and turning the distant ridges a soft purple gray. A thin line of dust hangs in the air where travelers passed earlier, now settling back onto the path like a quiet sigh. A lone traveler walks this way, cloak gathered a little tighter against the cooling air. His day has been long and full. Conversations, bargaining, the steady weight of decisions. Now, as he follows the bends in the road, his body feels each step more clearly, and his mind drifts in and out of memory. The road between Jerusalem and Jericho has a reputation. It winds through rocky stretches and narrow turns where danger can hide. Tonight, though, it is empty and still. wrapped in a calm that invites reflection. As he walks, he remembers a story Jesus once told on a road not so different from this one. It came in answer to a question, first from an expert in the law, then from the question inside that question. And who is my neighbor? Jesus did not respond with a rule list. Instead, he painted a scene with people and places that felt very familiar. There was a man traveling down from Jerusalem to Jericho, Jesus said, who fell into the hands of robbers. The details in Luke 10:30-37 are sparse, but they are enough to see the outline. He is stripped, beaten, and left beside the road, half alive and unable to help himself. The story does not linger on his pain, but it acknowledges it. He is there, on the side of the road, in need. In your imagination, you can see him lying against the rocks, dust clinging to his clothes, breath shallow and uneven. The light moves across him as the sun shifts, and time stretches strangely when no one comes. Then, at last, footsteps. A priest approaches, someone respected, someone who serves in holy places. He sees the man, the story says, and then passes by on the other side. No cruel words, no harsh gesture, only distance. Later, a Levite comes along the same road. He too sees the wounded man and chooses to move away, passing on. Again, no open contempt is described, only the quiet decision to keep walking. Perhaps they had reasons, fears, pressing responsibilities. The story does not explain. It simply shows the gap between their position and their response. Then Jesus brings another traveler into the picture, a Samaritan. For many listening, that word would have carried tension and history, yet in the story, he is the one who stops. When he sees the man, he is moved with compassion. The feeling is not abstract. It turns into action. He goes to him, tends to his wounds as gently as he can, and lifts him onto his own animal. Step by careful step, he leads him along the road to an inn, trading his own ease for the weight of another's need. At the inn, he continues to care for the man, staying through the night, then giving money to the innkeeper in the morning, with a promise to cover whatever remains. His kindness does not end at the edge of convenience. It continues into the quiet, unseen costs. When Jesus finishes the story, he asks which of the three proved to be a neighbor. The answer is simple: the one who showed mercy. The traveler on tonight's road thinks of this as he walks. He passes stones and small shrubs, hears the faint call of evening birds, feels the band of his sandals against his tired feet. The road itself seems to remember the story, as if every turn and hollow holds echoes of it. You might let your own mind walk here too, alongside him, considering the way mercy often appears where it is least expected, and sometimes fails to appear where it should be most natural. If you carry the ache of feeling unseen or passed by, this parable speaks gently to that wound. God is not like the ones who cross to the other side. He is more like the Samaritan in the story, seeing, drawing near, tending, staying. When others have hurried past your pain or minimized it, his compassion has not. It is not blind to your bruised places, even when they are hidden where no one else looks. The traveler pauses at a bend in the road, where the view widens. Below, small lights in distant houses begin to appear, each one a little point of warmth against the darkening land. He thinks of inns and doorways, of the wounded man resting in a borrowed bed, his breathing slowly evening out under a roof he did not earn for himself. There is something deeply soothing about being sheltered when you cannot shelter yourself. You may have times when your heart feels like that man by the roadside, tired, worn, unable to move forward with your usual strength. In those moments, the invitation is not to drag yourself along alone, but to let yourself be carried by the kindness of God and the small mercies He sends. A gentle word, a quiet song, a verse that settles in your mind like a soft blanket. You are allowed to lean your weight on that care. The traveler resumes his steps, the path slanting gently downward beneath him. His pace slows as the sky deepens into a richer blue, the first stars appearing overhead. The road that once felt tense with possibility now feels more like a long, quiet hallway leading toward rest. He adjusts his cloak and breathes more deeply, letting the story's image of mercy sink into him. You might think, as you listen, about those moments when you have been the wounded one, and those times when you have been given the chance to be the neighbor who stops. There is no pressure here to solve everything or to fix every hurt tonight. There is only the quiet reminder that love, in Jesus' vision, is not defined by categories or labels, but by who draws near when someone is hurting. As the traveler finally spots the lights of a village ahead, his shoulders lower almost without his noticing. The thought of a meal, a place to lie down, and the sound of low conversation in a safe courtyard steadies him. The road behind him holds its stories. The night ahead promises rest. The story Jesus told is still with him, but now it feels less like a sharp lesson and more like a soft lamp, showing him that he walks through a world watched over by a God who values mercy. You too are approaching the lights of rest tonight. Your bed, your room, the small familiar sounds around you. They can be like that inn at the end of a hard road. You do not have to arrive strong. You only have to arrive. Let your body feel the support beneath you. Let your breathing slow to a comfortable pace, each exhale a small letting go of the day's strain. Picture yourself not as someone left alone by the road, but as someone gently brought inside, given a place to lie down, covered with a blanket, watched over by a care that does not sleep. Under that watchful kindness, you can allow your eyes to close and your thoughts to grow quiet, trusting that the one who told this story of mercy still walks the roads of your life, drawing near whenever you are weary. The village of Bethany holds the warmth of late afternoon, its houses resting along the slope like quiet friends leaning toward one another. Paths curve between low walls and small gardens, where herbs and flowers breathe out their gentle scents into the cooling air. The day's work is not fully finished, but the sun has begun its slow descent, casting long, soft shadows across doorways and courtyards. In one of these homes, a household is alive with motion. Martha moves from place to place with a practiced urgency, checking the bread, stirring a pot, straightening cushions, glancing toward the doorway to gauge how much time is left. Her mind keeps running through quiet lists: water to be drawn, dishes to be set out, places to be prepared. This is not an ordinary evening guest. Jesus himself is coming, and she wants everything to be worthy of him. Mary is there too, her steps lighter, her pace less hurried. She helps where she can, but her eyes keep drifting toward the road, toward the moment when their friend will arrive. The house carries that particular energy you may recognize. The mixture of anticipation and pressure that comes when someone important is coming over and you want everything to be just right. Then the moment arrives. As Luke tells in 10:38 and 42, Jesus enters the village and is welcomed into their home. The doorway fills with his presence, simple and steady, bringing with it a sense of calm that gently brushes against the household's busy air. Martha greets him, perhaps with flowers still on her hands, offering the warmth of her hospitality. Mary's face brightens with quiet joy at the sight of him. He settles in the main room, taking a place where he can sit and speak. His voice, familiar and kind, begins to weave stories and truths into the space, and Mary is drawn as if by a gentle tide. She gravitates toward him, finding a place at his feet, close enough to see the lines of his hands and the way his eyes soften when he speaks. For her, in this moment, the meal and the cushions and the arrangements all fade into the background. Being near him, listening, has become the one necessary thing. Martha moves in and out of the room, the sounds of her service following her, the clink of pottery, the shuffle of steps, the soft thud of a door. She wants to honor him with a well-laid table and a properly prepared meal. Each time she glances back and sees Mary sitting still, not helping, something tightens inside her. The tasks feel heavier when she thinks she is carrying them alone. She is not a villain in this story. She is a woman doing what she knows how to do to show love. But as the work piles up, her heart grows troubled. The room that holds Jesus' calm voice also holds her resentment, building quietly like hot steam beneath a lid. At last, she cannot keep it inside. She comes to him and speaks, her words shaped by weariness and frustration. "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me." Beneath the complaint lies a deeper worry. Am I seen? Does my effort matter? She is asking not only for help, but for validation. Jesus turns his full attention toward her. He says her name twice, Martha, Martha. And in that repetition, there is no harshness, only affection. He acknowledges what is happening beneath her busy hands. You are worried and upset about many things. He does not criticize her for cooking or serving. Instead, he gently shines a light on the weight in her heart, the way her care has turned into anxiety. Then he points to Mary's choice. Few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. He is not rejecting Martha's service. He is inviting her into a deeper rest, the kind that begins not with a perfectly ordered room, but with a quieted soul at his feet. Mary's listening posture in this moment is the better part because it allows his presence to tend her heart before her hands move again. You may recognize pieces of yourself in both sisters. There are days when you are Martha, moving, organizing, taking care of others, your mind full of lists that never quite end. There are small sacrifices no one sees, tasks that keep the household or the workplace or the friendships running. And there are moments when, like Martha, you feel unseen in all of it, wondering if anyone truly notices how tired you are. There are other times when your heart longs to be like Mary's, still, attentive, resting in the simple nearness of Jesus. Yet the demands around you pull at your sleeves, and it can feel almost irresponsible to sit still when there is so much to do. This story does not condemn your work. It gently asks where your center is. Do you live only from the urgency of what must be done, or do you sometimes allow yourself to sink down into the one presence that can truly quiet your inner storms? Imagine now that you are in that Bethany room. The air smells of bread and herbs, of clay and warm oil. Jesus' voice is low and even, his words moving through the space like a calm stream. Mary sits near him, still and intent. Martha stands at the doorway, hands full, shoulders tense. When he speaks her name, the room seems to hold its breath. As he reminds her that she is worried and upset about many things, you might let those words include you, not as a scolding, but as a gentle naming of what is true. You are worried and upset about many things. Your mind has been pulled in different directions today. Your heart has felt stretched and frayed. And here, in this quiet moment, you are offered something better. Not necessarily fewer responsibilities, but a deeper place to rest within them. Picture Martha slowly setting down the bowl in her hands, the tension in her shoulders easing a little. Perhaps she moves closer, maybe not all the way to the floor beside Mary, but closer than before. Perhaps she begins to listen, letting his words wash through her like cool water. Service can wait a moment. The meal, whenever it comes, will still be enough. Right now, the better portion is to be with him. As you lie in your bed, you can imagine yourself doing the same. The tasks of tomorrow, the meals to prepare, the conversations to have, the responsibilities that crowd your thoughts. They can be like dishes waiting on a side table in that Bethany home. They are real, but they do not all need to be held in your hands tonight. You are allowed to set them down one by one and take the place of a listener at his feet. Let your breathing slow as if you are sitting on that floor, your back resting against the wall, your gaze lifted toward his face. Nothing in the room is asking you to prove yourself. No one is measuring how much you do. You are simply present, quietly loved, quietly welcomed. The better part is not something you earn. It is something you receive by being still long enough to notice his nearness. Under that gentle gaze, you can allow your body to grow heavier, your thoughts to grow softer. The house of your life does not have to be spotless for him to enter. He has already chosen to come under your roof in all its imperfection. Tonight, he offers you what he offered in Bethany: permission to stop striving, to listen, and to rest. The synagogue in this small village is modest, its stone walls warmed by years of sunlight and seasons of prayer. Inside, the air is gentle and cool, carrying the faint scents of oil, old wood, and woven mats. Lamps burn along the walls, steady and quiet, pushing back the deeper shadows in the corners. People enter slowly, some murmuring greetings, some in thoughtful silence, each one finding a familiar place and settling down as the room begins to breathe in a calm, shared rhythm. Among them is a woman who has been bent over for many years. Luke 13:10-17 tells us that she cannot straighten up at all. Her back curves forward, her neck strains from always looking toward the ground. She knows the pattern of the floor better than the shape of the sky. Each step is careful and measured, every movement a reminder of what she cannot do. Others may have grown used to the outline of her body in the crowd, but she has never grown used to the ache that lives in her bones. She finds a place along the side, near a pillar where she can steady herself. From there, she hears the familiar flow of prayers, the rise and fall of voices, the rustle of garments as people shift and settle. Faces blur and fragment in her tilted view, cut off at shoulders and knees. It has been this way for so long that the memory of standing upright may feel like something that happened to someone else. Still, she comes. Week after week, she makes her way to this place where God is remembered, even though her own body feels like a living reminder of brokenness. Today, Jesus is teaching in the synagogue. His voice, calm and clear, carries easily through the room. Some sit close enough to see every gesture of his hands. Others lean against the walls, listening with the steady attention of people who have learned to hope carefully. The bent woman listens too, her head tilted just enough to catch the sound. She does not push herself forward or try to make herself noticed. She is simply there, quietly present in her pain, doing the only thing she knows, showing up. But Jesus sees her. He does not wait for her to work up the courage to interrupt. He does not ask her to explain herself or prove anything. Luke says he calls her forward, his voice reaching into the space where she stands on the edge. She shuffles toward him as best she can, each step small and careful. Curiosity follows her through the room, but his gaze is not curious. It is kind. When she comes near, he speaks words that fall over her like a soft hand on a tense shoulder. Woman, you are set free from your infirmity. Then he places his hands on her, and immediately she straightens up. Muscles that have known only one shape for 18 years suddenly remember another. Her spine uncurls, her chest lifts, and her eyes, so used to staring at dust and sandals and stone, rise to meet the faces around her. The ceiling, the lamps, the lines of stone, the open doorway with its square of light. All of it meets her from this new height. From somewhere deep inside, praise rises before she can think to hold it back. She begins to glorify God, her voice carrying the astonished joy of someone who has been suddenly and fully seen. Not everyone in the room understands. The synagogue leader, fixed on rules about what should and should not be done on the Sabbath, speaks with tight frustration. There are 6 days for work, he tells the people. Come to be healed on those days, not on this day of rest. His words cut across the tenderness of the moment like a cold draft through a warm room, as if mercy might be somehow out of place in the very space where God's goodness is read aloud. Jesus answers with steady kindness and firm truth. He reminds them that they untie their animals on the Sabbath and lead them to water. If they show that simple care for oxen and donkeys, how much more fitting it is for this daughter of Abraham, bound for 18 long years, to be set free from what has held her. His words do more than defend his action. They name her dignity. She is no longer just that bent woman in the corner of the room. She is a daughter, seen, valued, and released in front of everyone. The atmosphere shifts. Those who opposed him feel the sting of his clarity, but many others are quietly delighted at all the wonderful things he is doing. The synagogue feels looser, as if some tight band around its walls has been gently unfastened. Rest has come, not only in reflective words, but in a body finally released from years of strain. Sabbath is no longer an idea. It is standing there, breathing deeply, shoulders free. You may not carry the same physical burden she did, but you might know what it feels like to be bent on the inside, curved under the weight of worry, regret, or long-standing disappointment. Maybe your thoughts seem to move only in one direction, always tilting downward toward what is hard or uncertain. You might come into your own quiet spaces with that heaviness, feeling small and unnoticed among other people's stories. This scene is a gentle reminder that Jesus notices the ones who learn to stand at the edges. He sees the shapes your pain has given to your posture, both outward and inward. He does not stand far off, waiting for you to fix yourself before you draw near. His call is simple and kind. Come closer. Even if your steps are slow, even if you are not sure what will happen next. Tonight, as you lie down, your back may still carry its familiar tension and your muscles their usual tightness. Yet your inner posture can straighten a little in His presence. You are not only the sum of your aches, mistakes, or limitations. You are also a beloved child, looked at with the same tenderness He gave that woman, as He called her daughter of Abraham. Let that truth settle over you like a soft, well-worn blanket pulled up around your shoulders. Feel the mattress beneath you as if it were the firm, cool floor of that synagogue, holding you without effort. Notice your breath rising and falling in a slow, gentle rhythm. With each exhale, you can imagine releasing a small measure of the weight you have been carrying by yourself. With each inhale, you receive again the quiet assurance that you are held by a love that does not grow tired of your need and does not turn away from your bent places. In that assurance, you can let your thoughts drift and your body grow heavy. The one who called that woman to stand tall is not far from you. The world may still have its rules and pressures, but they do not rule this moment. In this room, in this night, you are free to rest as someone deeply known, gently restored, and lovingly watched over as you sleep. Night has settled over the hills beyond the village, laying a soft blue over the fields. The air is cool now, carrying the faint scent of grass and sheep's wool as a few early stars appear above the dark slopes. Near the village edge, a shepherd steps out of his simple home, cloak pulled around his shoulders and staff worn smooth by many nights like this in his hand. He pauses by the stone enclosure, listening to the low murmur of his flock as their shapes rise and fall in the dimness, pressed close in a safe cluster near the gate. Earlier, he brought them in from the open land, guiding them along narrow paths, calling with familiar sounds. The flock moved around him like a slow river of wool, pressing into safety. Once they were inside, he closed the gate and began to count them, one by one, his voice low and steady. 93, 94, 95. He knows each one not as a number, but by shape and pattern, by small habits and the way they respond when he calls. There is the one with the dark patch over its eye, the one that limps just a little, the restless one that always drifts toward the edges. His counting is not a dry duty, it is an act of care. When he reaches 99 and finds that the next expected face is missing, his chest tightens. One is not there. He stands a moment in the lamplight by the gate, listening. Inside the enclosure, the 99 shift and settle, their breath making a soft, steady sound. They are safe for the night. But his mind is already turned toward the one that is not. It may be caught in a hollow, tangled in thorns, or simply alone and frightened somewhere out in the dark. Many people might accept the loss, call 99 out of 100 good enough. But this shepherd's heart does not work that way. The missing one is not a spare piece. It is a living creature that has known his voice and his care. So he secures the gate for the 99 and steps back into the open night in search of the wandering one. The hills do not offer an easy path. Stones shift under his sandals, and low bushes brush his cloak. The darkness hides dips and rises in the ground, but he moves with patient certainty, his staff tapping lightly as he walks. Every so often he pauses and calls out, his voice carrying across the quiet fields, then moves on, listening for any answering cry. You may feel at times like that one sheep, separate from others, caught in a tangle of your own thoughts or choices, unsure how to find your way back to what feels safe. Perhaps you have wandered, small step by small step, until you realized you were no longer where you meant to be. In this story Jesus tells, the shepherd does not shrug and say the stray brought this on itself. He does not wait for it to struggle home alone. He goes and he keeps going, across rocks and shadows and cool air. Each call of his voice is another quiet promise. I have not forgotten you. I intend to find you. At last he hears something, a faint bleat carried on the wind, thin and strained. He stops, listening again, and the sound comes once more, a little clearer. He turns toward it, stepping carefully through a narrow gully. There, caught in a tangle of thorny branches near a drop in the hillside, is the missing sheep. Its wool snagged, its sides rising and falling too fast. He comes close and speaks softly, the way he always does when an animal is frightened. His hands move with calm assurance as he frees it from the thorns, ignoring the scratches the branches leave on his own arms. When at last it is loose, he does not drive it ahead of him, scolding. Instead, he lifts it and places it across his shoulders, legs balanced carefully, one hand holding its feet, the other steadying its weight. The sheep's heartbeat taps against the back of his neck. The walk back is not short, but the journey feels different when the lost one is no longer missing, but found. The shepherd's steps are sure, and though the weight on his shoulders is real, it is a weight he gladly bears. When he reaches the village, he does not slip quietly into his house. Instead, as Jesus tells it, he calls his friends and neighbors together. There is joy in his voice as he invites them to rejoice with him, because the sheep that was lost has been found. What could have been a private sigh of relief becomes a shared celebration. Jesus says that in the same way, there is joy in heaven over one sinner who repents, over one heart that turns back, even after wandering far. God's joy is not reserved only for those who never stray. It rises with special warmth when someone who is lost is safely gathered in again. If you are listening tonight with a sense of having wandered, whether in your habits, your thoughts, or the direction of your life, hear this gentle truth. You are not an afterthought. You are not the acceptable casualty of a mostly intact flock. You are the one the shepherd is willing to seek in the dark, calling your name into the wind until you are found. As you lie down, you can imagine yourself not alone on a cold hillside, but resting on his shoulders as he carries you home. The sway of his steps becomes the slow, soothing rhythm of your breath. The night air is cool on your face, but his presence is warm and steady. The path beneath his feet is sure, even when you cannot see it. Back at the village edge, the enclosure stands ready, its gate secure, its interior calm and familiar. The 99 rest there, rising and lowering in quiet sleep. When the shepherd steps through the gate with you on his shoulders, you are returned not as a problem, but as a beloved one brought back to safety. Let that picture settle into your mind as you drift toward sleep. You are not left wandering in the dark. You are noticed, sought, found, and carried by one who does not grow weary of calling your name. Under his watch, you can let your breathing slow and your muscles soften, knowing that tonight you are safely held. The courtyard of the farmhouse is quiet in the late afternoon light. Dust lies in a thin layer over the worn stones, stirred only by the slow movement of chickens near the wall. A fig tree spreads its branches along one side, leaves trembling when a breeze slips through. Beyond the low gate, fields stretch outward under the sinking sun. An older man steps out from the house and pauses beneath the lintel, as he has done on many evenings. He rests one hand on the wood and lets his eyes travel beyond the courtyard, past the stone fence to the road that winds through the fields. He has learned exactly where a figure would first appear on the horizon. Servants move quietly around him, drawing water and checking animals. The house is not empty of life, but there is a hollow room inside the man's heart. One of his sons is gone. He left in impatience and pride, taking his share of the inheritance and walking down that road without looking back. As Luke tells in 15:11:32, the younger son went to a distant country, chasing a life he imagined would be free and full. For a while, the coins in his hands seemed to promise exactly that. But wealth without wisdom slips away like water on dry ground. When famine came, he found himself feeding pigs, hungry enough to envy even their food. There, surrounded by animals and emptiness, he began to think about home. He remembered the farmhouse and the servants who had more bread than they needed. His thoughts turned from pride towards something softer, a mixture of regret and longing. He realized he was no longer worthy to be called a son, yet he wondered if he might be received as a servant. So he rose and began the long walk back along the same road. Back at the farm, the older man has never fully stopped watching that road. He still tends his responsibilities and cares for the son who remained. But each day, when the light begins to slant, he finds himself at this threshold, gaze fixed on that distant rise. His waiting is not passive. It is a quiet, constant readiness to welcome. This evening, a small shape appears on the road. At first, it is just a disturbance in the shimmering air, a shifting mark that might be anyone. He narrows his eyes, heart beginning to quicken. Step by step, the figure draws nearer, thin and hesitant. The clothing is worn, the pace uneven. But there is something in the shoulders and the turn of the head that reaches across the distance like a remembered song. Before anyone else can be certain, the father knows. He does not wait for the boy to reach the gate or shout an apology from far away. Jesus says that he runs. This older man, who could have chosen dignity over movement, gathers his robes and runs down the path. The son has been rehearsing his words. He plans to say that he has sinned against heaven and against his father, that he is no longer worthy to be called a son, that he would accept any place in the household. His speech is shaped by shame. It measures everything in terms of worth and debt. He expects distance, perhaps anger, perhaps a long silence. Instead, he feels arms around him before he can finish. The father reaches him and folds him close. the force of his embrace breaking through the thin lines of the boy's rehearsed confession. Tears mix with dust on both their faces. The son begins his prepared words anyway. But the father is already calling for servants, his voice rich with joy instead of resentment. "Quick," he says, "bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet." These are not the signs of a hired hand. They are marks of belonging. The father orders a feast, not a lecture. He explains to the household, and to the older brother who struggles with jealousy, that this son was dead and is alive again, was lost and is found. The courtyard that once felt hollow now fills with sound. Music rises into the evening air. Laughter spills from open doors. In the center of it all stands the returned son, still thin from his journey, still carrying memories of hunger and failure, now wrapped in a robe that is not his own, surrounded by a welcome he did not earn. If you have ever felt far from home in your own heart, this story speaks softly to you. You may know what it is to walk roads you regret, to spend your energy on things that leave you empty, to wonder whether you have disqualified yourself from love. The younger son's journey back is not heroic. It is humble and slow, born out of desperation as much as hope. Yet the father does not meet that slow return with cold calculation. He runs. You might picture tonight that the same kind of welcome waits for you. Whatever distance you feel between yourself and God, whether from choices you regret, seasons of drifting, or simple numbness, He has not sealed the door. He has been watching the road of your life more attentively than you realize, ready not to shame you, but to wrap you in a love that restores what shame has tried to erase. As you lie down, imagine yourself in that courtyard after the noise has softened. The feast is mostly eaten. The music is faded into a low murmur. You step outside under the night sky. The stones under your feet are cool. The trees' leaves rustle above you. You think of the road, of the running figure, of arms that did not hesitate to draw you in. The father's words echo quietly. Once lost, now found. Once far, now home. Let that truth settle over the parts of you that still feel unworthy. You do not have to polish your apologies before you are allowed to rest. Right now, as the day closes, you are invited to breathe like someone who has arrived where they are wanted. Feel the mattress beneath you as a safe courtyard, firm and familiar. Let your hands relax at your sides and your eyes grow heavy. The God who waits and runs and embraces has not turned his face away from you. Under his welcome, you can release the long walk of this day and let your whole self settle into the quiet relief of being home. The day in the village has been long and warm, filled with the sounds of work and conversation. Now, as the sun leans lower toward the hills, the light softens along the rooftops, and the streets that were busy a few hours ago take on a gentler pace. Down one of these lanes, a small group begins to gather. Parents walk with children at their sides or in their arms, guiding them carefully around stones and doorways. Some little ones hold tightly to a hand. Others skip ahead and then glance back, making sure the familiar face is still near. They have heard that Jesus is near. Stories about him have traveled through the village. How he speaks with kindness, how he notices the overlooked, how he welcomes people others push away. For these parents, the thought begins to grow. if they can bring their children to him, if he will lay his hands on them and bless them, it will be enough, not to impress him, not to earn anything, but simply to place these small lives in the circle of his care. So they come, little feet scuffing in the dirt, little voices asking questions. A child tugs at a tunic and whispers, "Who are we going to see?" Another yawns and rubs tired eyes, content just to be carried. A baby dozes against a mother's shoulder, unaware of the journey at all. The air around this moving cluster holds the soft chaos of family life, the shuffle of sandals, the murmur of reassurance, the occasional cry quickly soothed. When they reach the place where Jesus is, they find his disciples forming a kind of barrier, trying to keep the path clear. Perhaps they think they are doing the right thing, protecting their teacher's time, guarding him from what feels like interruption. Children can be noisy, unpredictable, and the disciples may imagine that more serious concerns should come first. They begin to rebuke the people, telling them to stand back, to wait, to leave the teacher undisturbed. Mothers draw back slightly, unsure. Fathers tighten their grip on small hands, their plans suddenly feeling fragile. The children sense the tension and grow quiet, eyes flicking between the strong faces of the disciples and the gentler one a little farther back. But Jesus sees what is happening, and his response moves quickly through the air like a warm breeze that pushes away a chill. Luke 18:15-17 tells us that he calls the children to himself. He does not wave them off or leave them at the edges. His voice cuts through the disciples' attempts to block the way. "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them." Those words are simple, but they open a wide door. The parents' shoulders loosen. The children, hearing the welcome in his tone, step forward more easily. Barriers that seemed firm a moment ago become thin and fragile. The disciples, gently corrected, step aside. The path between Jesus and these small ones is clear. You can picture the scene, the way he might bend down or sit so that his eyes are level with theirs. Tiny hands reach toward him. He rests his own hands lightly on heads and shoulders, a blessing that does not need many words. Some children may lean against him shyly. Others climb closer with open delight. He does not rush them away. He is not embarrassed by their questions or their clumsiness. Then he says something that settles deeply into the hearts of everyone listening. "For the kingdom of God belongs to such as these." Not to the impressive, not to the faultless, not to the ones who have mastered every answer, but to those who come as children, dependent, honest, open-handed. He adds that anyone who will not receive the kingdom of God like a little child will never enter it. Receiving like a child does not mean being naive. It means resting your weight on someone stronger than you, the way a small child falls asleep in a parent's arms without worrying about the floor beneath. It means trusting that you are wanted, even when you bring nothing but your small self and your tiredness. You may have spent much of your life trying to be grown up in the ways that seem necessary, responsible, controlled, careful with your hopes. But at the end of a heavy day, when you lie down and your thoughts begin to spin, there is a deeper invitation. You are allowed to come to God not as a perfectly composed adult with every answer, but as a child who just needs to be held. Imagine yourself in that crowd for a moment, not as one of the parents watching from a step back, but as one of the children. You feel a gentle hand on your shoulder guiding you forward. The disciples' stern expressions melt away as Jesus calls you closer. The dust beneath your feet is soft. The air around you is quieting. When you reach him, he looks at you with a warmth that reaches the tired places inside. He rests his hand on your head, or takes your hands in his, and for a while, there is nothing you need to say. You do not have to explain why you feel worn out or worried. He already knows. You can simply stand there or sit at his feet, letting the steady kindness in his gaze do its work. The world around you, the noise, the demands, the expectations, fades to the edges. What remains is this: you are wanted here. As you bring this picture into your own room tonight, you can let your bed become like that safe space near him. Your pillow can be the place where you rest your head as a child rests against a trusted shoulder. Your breathing can slow to the easy rhythm of someone who does not have to stay alert to every possible danger. You may not feel very childlike. You might feel worn down by adult burdens and long histories. But beneath all of that, you are still someone's beloved child, made, known, and held by the one who said, "Let the little children come to me." Tonight, you are not too much, and you are not too little. You are simply his. Let that truth be the last thing you hold on to as sleep drifts closer. You can release the need to manage everything and rest in a kindness that is older and stronger than your worry, trusting that you are watched over with a love that does not grow tired. The road out of Jerusalem stretches into the late afternoon, its stones still warm from the day. Two figures walk side by side, sandals scuffing softly, cloaks moving in the light breeze. Behind them, the city shrinks in the fading glow. Ahead, somewhere beyond the bends and low rises, waits the village of Emmaus. These two travelers are tired in more ways than one. Their bodies feel the crowded days just past. Their minds are worn from turning the same questions again and again. They had hoped Jesus was the one who would redeem Israel, the one who would change everything. Instead, they saw him taken, condemned, and crucified. The story they had trusted seems to have broken in their hands. As they walk, they talk quietly. Their words come in fragments, like pieces of pottery shifted in sore fingers. They speak of the cross, of the tomb, of the strange reports from some of the women who say the grave is empty, and that angels have declared he is alive. It is a lot to carry, and their hearts do not know where to set it down. As they continue, a third traveler draws near, his steps falling into rhythm with theirs. He does not hurry or push past. He simply comes alongside, matching their pace. To them, he looks like any other pilgrim heading home after the festival days. They do not recognize him as Jesus. Grief and confusion can cloud the eyes in ways that go deeper than sight. He asks what they are discussing as they walk. They are surprised that someone could be unaware of what has just happened in Jerusalem. One of them, Cleopas, speaks with tired astonishment. "Are you the only one visiting who does not know the things that have taken place in these days?" "What things?" he asks, gently inviting them to tell their story. They speak of Jesus of Nazareth, of his teaching and miracles, of the way their hopes were wrapped around him. They tell of the crucifixion, of their dashed expectations, of the reports of an empty tomb that have left them confused instead of comforted. He listens without interrupting their sorrow. When he does speak, his words are steady and patient. He begins to explain what the scriptures had always been saying, that the Messiah would suffer and then enter his glory. As they walk, he opens the story of God's long faithfulness, showing how the threads they thought were broken are part of something larger than they had seen. The path rises and falls beneath their feet, but something else quietly shifts as well. Their hearts, once heavy and closed in on themselves, begin to warm. They sense that his words make the tangled events of the past days feel less like chaos and more like part of a gentle plan. The light grows softer as evening comes on. At last, the village of Emmaus appears ahead, a small cluster of houses gathered against the coming night. The travelers feel the pull of home, the promise of a meal, a place to rest, a pause in their walking and worrying. When they reach the village, the third traveler makes as if to continue on. He does not press himself into their space. Instead, he leaves room for their choice. But something in them cannot bear the thought of letting him go. The comfort of his presence has touched places words alone could not. They urge him strongly to stay. Stay with us, for it is nearly evening. The day is almost over. He accepts their invitation. Together they enter the house, stepping into the dimness of a simple room. The air inside is cooler and smells of bread and oil. They settle around the table, shoulders relaxing in the way bodies do when they know they are finally home for the night. He takes the bread in his hands, just as he has done so many times before. He gives thanks, the blessing rising from his lips in a tone that feels familiar and deeply right. Then he breaks the bread and begins to give it to them. In that ordinary gesture, hands, bread, blessing, breaking, their eyes are opened. They recognize him. The stranger on the road is no stranger. He is the risen Jesus, the very one they had been grieving, the one they thought they had lost. For a heartbeat, everything else falls away, the road behind, the worries ahead, the tiredness in their bones. There is only this clear, quiet knowing that he has been with them, walking beside them in their confusion, long before they understood. He vanishes from their sight. The bread is still in their hands, the lamplight steady on the walls. But nothing is the same. They turn to each other, wonder rising where despair had been. Were not our hearts burning within us, they say, while he talked with us on the road and opened the scriptures to us? The weariness that weighed on their steps is replaced by a different kind of strength. Even though evening has come and the road is dark, they cannot stay still. They rise and begin to make their way back toward Jerusalem, retracing the path they had just traveled, carrying with them the news that he is alive and that he meets people on roads of disappointment and confusion. As you listen to this story near the end of your own day, you might recognize something of yourself in those travelers. This chapter whispers a gentle assurance. Even when you do not recognize him, Jesus comes alongside. He matches your pace. He listens to your questions. He speaks truth that slowly warms the cold places in your heart. He accepts your invitation, however small. Stay with me. The day is almost over. And makes himself known in simple, familiar gifts. As you lie down now, you can imagine that your bed is like that house in Emmaus, a quiet place where he has agreed to stay. The day behind you may still hold puzzles you cannot solve, but you are not alone in them, and your heart, though tired, is not abandoned. Let your breathing slow. Like the unhurried steps of travelers finally home for the night, feel the support beneath you as steady ground after a long walk. You do not need to hold every question awake. You can rest in the presence of the one who walks your roads and shares your table, who stays with you not only in bright mornings, but in the soft, shadowed hours when you most need quiet company. Tonight, as the story grows quiet and the village well settles under the stars, you are free to rest. The long paths of your day have led you here, to this small moment of breathing in and breathing out, of being gently held. You do not have to carry every scene from today into your sleep. The one who walked the roads of Luke and sat by the well can hold them for you. If your thoughts still wander like travelers on a dim path, let them come to him one by one. He is not impatient with your questions or surprised by your weariness. He has sat in simple homes, crossed restless water, and broken bread with friends whose hearts did not understand. So tonight, you may come with empty hands too. You do not need to perform, to impress, or to find the perfect prayer. A quiet sigh is enough, a small whisper in your heart that says, "Lord, I am tired. Please be near." His spirit keeps watch even when your eyes close. May your room feel like a safe courtyard, a hilltop at dusk, a warm house on the Emmaus Road where the light is soft and the door is gently shut against the night. May peace settle over your chest like a light blanket, easing the tight places and loosening the knots in your thoughts. May the words of Scripture you have heard become like still water and green pastures within you, a quiet place your heart can lie down. As you drift toward sleep, you are not alone. The shepherd who searches, the father who runs, the teacher who blesses children, and the friend who walks beside weary travelers is watching over you. Breathe slowly, sink deeply, and rest in his kindness. You are held, you are seen, and you are loved, now and through the whole night.